Hello, it's Friday the 29th of April. My name is Neil Shearing, I'm the Group Chief Economist, and this is your week at Capital Economics. And it's been one in which events have underscored a key point we made in our latest Global Economics Outlook, which is that when it comes to managing growth challenges on the one hand and inflation challenges on the other, central banks are going to remain firmly fixed on the latter. So we don't anticipate that the drop in Q1 GDP that was reported in the US this week will deter the Fed from raising interest rates by 50 basis points when it meets next week. And nor do we think that a weakening economic outlook in the UK will prevent the MPC from raising interest rates when it meets on Thursday either. And you can join our economists on our US and UK teams for separate drop-ins following those policy meetings next week too. Register online. In Europe, it was the turn of the Riksbank to grab the headlines. It surprised many, but not our senior Nordics economist David Oxley, by raising interest rates this week. That's something that David's been anticipating for several months and has been well ahead of the market on. But it might set the tone for a summer rate hike surprise from the ECB. Inflation data rising to new highs in Europe, in the Eurozone this week. And we think that that might actually presage a rate hike coming down the track as soon as July from the ECB, despite the fact that we got more evidence that the huge squeeze on real incomes and household spending from higher inflation is weighing on economic growth. We've got evidence of that in some of the GDP data reported today for Q1 in France and in Spain. Finally, a word on Japan. With the BOJ struggling to hold the line on yield curve control, things have calmed down a bit over the last 24 hours or so following the BOJ's policy meeting. But as we explained to the drop into clients this week, we think that the BOJ might ultimately be forced to tweak its yield curve control strategy, widen the tolerance band. So maybe, although we've had a slightly calmer few days in Japanese bond markets, and for the yen, we see the yen weakening a bit further and the BOJ ultimately being forced to change its strategy. You can read more about Japan and Europe and the US and the UK and everything that's happening in the global economy on our website. But for now, it simply remains for me to say thank you for listening, to have a good weekend, have a good long weekend for those of you in Europe and Asia and with public holidays on Monday. And we'll speak to you again next week. Goodbye.